Let's take a look at a powerful moment featuring Steve Jobs responding to an insult with grace and wisdom. Make sure to watch until the end, as I'm going to be breaking down some of the public speaking techniques that he uses during this incredible response, so you can get some ideas on how to apply in your own presentations.
Mr. Jobs, you're a bright and influential man.
Here it comes.
It's sad and clear that on several counts you've discussed, you don't know what you're talking about. I would like, for example, for you to express in clear terms how, say, Java, in any of its incarnations, addresses the ideas embodied in OpenDoc. And when you're finished with that, perhaps you could tell us what you personally have been doing for the last 7 years.
Notice how Steve Jobs handles this pointed criticism. Rather than reacting defensively, he responds with humility and redirects the focus towards a broader vision.
You know, you can please some of the people some of the time, but one of the hardest things when you're trying to affect change is that people like this gentleman are right in some areas. I'm sure that there are some things OpenDoc does, probably even more that I'm not familiar with, that nothing else out there does. And I'm sure that you can make some demos, maybe a small commercial app that demonstrates those things. The hardest thing is, how does that fit in to a cohesive, larger vision that's going to allow you to sell $8 billion, $10 billion of product a year?
Now here, Jobs uses this point to validate the critic's point of view. This shows respect and openness, which disarms any future hostility.
And one of the things I've always found is that you've got to start with the customer experience and work backwards to the technology.
Here, Jobs emphasizes customer-centered innovation. This is a fantastic, powerful rhetoric device that shifts the conversation towards a common goal, creating value to the customer.
You can't start with the technology and try to figure out where you're going to try to sell it. And I've made this mistake probably more than anybody else in this room. And I've got the scar tissue to prove it. And I know that it's the case. And as we have tried to come up with a strategy and a vision for Apple, it started with what incredible benefits can we give to the customer? Where can we take the customer? Not starting with, let's sit down with the engineers and figure out what awesome technology we have, and then how are we going to market that?
Okay, here he contrasts his two approaches, technology first versus customer first, making his arguments more relatable and compelling.
And I think that's the right path to take. I remember with the laser writer, we built the world's first small laser printers, you know, and there was awesome technology in that box. We had the first Canon laser printing, cheap laser printing engine in the world, in the United States here at Apple. We had a very wonderful printer controller that we designed. We had Adobe's PostScript software in there. We had Apple Talk in there. Just awesome technology in the box. And I remember seeing the first printout come out of it and just picking it up and looking at it and thinking, you know, we can sell this. Because you don't have to know anything about what's in that box. All we have to do is hold this up and go, do you want this? And if you can remember back to 1984, before laser printers, it was pretty startling to see that. People went, whoa, yes. And that's That's where Apple's got to get back to. And, you know, I'm sorry that OpenDoc's a casualty along the way, and I readily admit there are many things in life that I don't have the faintest idea what I'm talking about. So I apologize for that too.
Okay, on this part, Jobs admits his limitations. This humility not only humanizes him, but also strengthens his credibility.
There's a whole lot of people working super, super hard right now at Apple. You know, Avi, John, Garino, Fred. I mean, the whole team is working, burning the midnight oil, trying to, and people, you know, hundreds of people below them, to execute on some of these things, and they're doing their best. And I think that what we need to do, and some mistakes will be made, by the way. Some mistakes will be made along the way. That's good, because at least some decisions are being made along the way. And we'll find the mistakes, we'll fix them. And I think what we need to do is support that team going through this very important stage as they work their butts off. They're all getting calls, being offered 3 times as much money to go do this, do that. The valley's hot. None of them are leaving. And I think we need to support them and see them through this and write some damn good applications to support Apple out in the market. That's my own point of view.
He concludes by relying on support for his team, forcing unity and forward momentum.
Point of view. Mistakes will be made. Some people will be pissed off. Some people will not know what they're talking about. But I think it is so much better than where things were not very long ago. And I think we're going to get there.
In public speaking, try to take some inspiration from Steve Jobs' speeches. There are so many great speeches that you can learn from. Remember to use humility, validate your critics, and share a common vision. Get inspiration from the way he speaks, his diction, and also his body language, the way he projects himself. It keeps the audience engaged and respectful. By analyzing Steve Jobs' rhetoric and body language, we can learn valuable lessons in public speaking. Remember, empathy, clarity, and vision are key to compelling communication. If you are interested in more public speaking videos, check all the videos on my channel. I have great contents there. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.